Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Beyond the Sewing Room. I'm Diane. So today I'd like to talk about what's working for me with my sewing. So I have a few ideas for you here, and these might be things that you already do, things that you're thinking about or along the same lines. So number one is sewing plans. Now, sewing plans change all the time, and I find that if I try to stick to what I intended to do with something, like I have a pattern in mind and the fabric, and I'm determined that because I've said I'm going to do something, I stick to it, I don't wear that garment. So what I've been trying to do is be more flexible and also be certain about what I want to make. I have a collection of patterns, I have an idea in mind, and then I mull it over for a little while. So sometimes in the past, because I've put a video out and I've said that I'm going to be making X number of things, I've made them no matter what, because I've thought I've said I'm making this now, I'm going to do it. But then I find that those items don't get worn. So if I'm having doubts, or if things change, or if I look at the fabric again and I'm thinking it might look better in something else, I'm trying to be easier on myself and be more flexible. So that's the first thing, is to just give yourself a break. And sometimes we change our minds. We do that with things that we buy from the shop. You might buy a garment from a shop and then take it back. Now, the next one is methods for doing things. So methods, that can include finishes, ways that you create your seam, whether you use pins, whether you use clips, a whole variety of things, the way you go about cutting things out. So something I was thinking about earlier when I was doing my work was these seams. So I'm going to insert a little image here. Now, quite often it says to overlock your seams, open it out and press it flat. Now that works for some fabrics, and it's also a perfectly suitable method for most fabrics. But I do find if I'm working on jersey, I will often overlock the seams together and press them over to one side. Also, you may be using a flat seam, a flat fell seam, a French seam, all manner of different things, but your pattern might not call for them. Well, you need to decide what works best for you. So I'm being more flexible. Even if the pattern states sometimes press them to one side, I might find that I'd rather press them flat. So that's something else. So just think about the methods that you're using. Are they the ones that work best for you? Because you don't have to always stick steadfastly to the pattern. Is it best for the fabric? I mean, with jersey fabric, sometimes you can just leave the seams raw altogether. I've also found that on the inside of garments, sometimes it helps to do a little zigzag behind a facing or maybe inside a lining if you think that fabric might be prone to fraying. So you wouldn't want to overlock all these seams because it uses a lot of cotton and it's extra time, but a little zigzag here and there will just stop that fabric from fraying out behind the lining. Now the next one is time scale. Now it's not a competition how fast we can make everything, but with work, obviously, I have to get things done pretty quickly because it is a job. But for my own things, I don't need to do that because I'm not in a race with anybody, although sometimes I might behave like I'm in a race with myself. So what I'm finding is, it's something I mentioned in a previous video, sometimes it's nice to do things in stages if it's just something for you. I had an idea of some trousers that I wanted to make. I mentioned it in a previous video. Now I got those cut out at the weekend with the intention of making them this week, but we were supposed to be going away on holiday, but the weather changed. We were going in our caravan. So what we did, we had a little day out yesterday. I didn't want to miss that sunshine because we've had very little sunshine here in the UK, even though it's July. And we had a day trip, and that's what we did. And what I've decided is I'm going to work on my trousers throughout the week. So here they are cut out, and it goes back to my changing plans idea, because I did change my plans with these, and you'll see that in an upcoming video. So these are all cut out, ready to go, and I'm going to work on those in stages in between doing my work. Now, I've managed to get out for a walk today, I've managed to get my work done, I may do a little on those later. So the time scale is completely flexible because they are for me. And the same could be said for you making something. I've had messages before of people saying, I couldn't get this done, I haven't got time to do this, I'd never get this finished in a day, or it'd take me a week or a month or a year. Well, that doesn't matter, because if it's something you're making for yourself, and unless you're making it for an upcoming event like a wedding or a special occasion, it doesn't really matter if it takes you as long as it takes, because just enjoy it and don't worry about the time scale. So the next one is storage. So my storage here is ever evolving. I keep adding to it to store things in. So what I'm really liking at the moment is my little wardrobe divider. So I have a picture of that here, and I'm using this in, so I have a spare wardrobe here that I keep a lot of sewing supplies in. The wardrobe divider used to be in my wardrobe as it wasn't very useful for me. It wasn't working for me there. So I've moved it into this one here. And as you can see, I store fabrics on it now. Now I have got a book in the bottom of each sort of panel because I found it was quite floppy. So I've got some of my old children's books. I've put a book in the bottom of each one. So I suppose you could use a piece of board or something. And it's holding up lots of fabrics. So these are upcoming projects and also remnant pieces and a couple of pieces that you may have seen in previous videos that I've bought recently. So those are in there. And I'm finding that's working really well down one side of my storage wardrobe in here. So that's great. The other thing is I've been finding other ways to store my patterns. So I do store patterns in nice gift bags. So if you have any nice gift bags, so again, I have an image. And this is one I got on my birthday last year. I thought it was far too pretty to just not be unsure, so I keep it in here, and that's storing some of my patterns along with a lot of other boxes that I've covered and so on to keep patterns in. So that's another thing. And more recently I've started storing things on top of the wardrobe, so that's not inside on the top shelf but actually on top of the unit. So there's a big void of space right there, so you could add baskets if you've got them. I'm finding I've got a lot of work that's in large bags, and I just climb up and pop them on top there. And that's a great place, and they're out of the way, and I can get quite a lot of work up there. So that's a great use of storage. So I keep finding new ways to store my supplies or work. So that's just something that's ongoing. So if you've got any more ideas, please pop them in the comments below. Now the next one is jotting things down. So I've got these notebooks now. I don't know if anybody else is like me, but sometimes I get new notebooks and I love them so much it takes me ages before I use them. So I got this one, my husband bought me this one Christmas 2 years ago I think, and I've got all sorts stored in here now, ideas wise, and that's what I've been doing. And I have another one right here that my friend got me with my name on, and I've been storing lots of ideas in here. So the thing being, I am jotting down things as they come to me, so things that I need to change, things that I want to recycle from my wardrobe and turn into something new, refashions that I may have ideas for. I find if I don't write them down, I'll think it's a really good idea at the time, and then a few weeks later I will have forgot. So that's something that I'm doing. Gaps in my wardrobe is another one. So if I wear something and I'm thinking, I haven't really got anything to go with this, or I have but I don't really like that top anyway, so I'm trying to jot things down there for future. So if I think the autumn will be coming up and I have a pair of trousers and no top to go with them, that's something to think about for making for the future. And the other thing is sort of mending jobs. So mending jobs, but I try to do these sort of sooner rather than later. So jot them down if I notice anything that's coming loose or may need doing. First of all, I usually bring them in here into the sewing room, but also if I wrote them down, I've got a quick reminder of what needs doing or what needs adding or what can be changed. So that's a great one for keeping your thoughts in check, is to use your notebooks. And I have been quite precious about not using my nicer ones, but I am starting to use more of them now. So that was just a few ideas, quick one today. Please let me know in the comments if you want to add anything. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.